So Tucker Carlson did a really strange interview with Senator Ted Cruz where he kind of took him to task over AIPAC, foreign influence, and I think maybe Teddy Boy was expecting quite a softball interview, but Ted Cruz didn't get that. So let's get straight into it.
Benefits from Israel. Israel shares the Mossad is one of the best intelligence sources on the planet. The enemies of Israel, the people who hate Israel, they all hate us. It's almost a perfect overlap. And so if we tried to recreate, if we're just trying to defend America, we tried to recreate the national security benefits of our alliance with Israel, it would cost, I don't know, 30 billion, 300 billion.
So can you elaborate? And again, I'm going into this as someone who's always liked Israel and still does. But I also think at this point,
Really, Tucker? Are you lying there?
given where we are, it's fair to ask rational questions about what the benefits are.
Good.
So does Mossad share all of its intelligence with us?
Oh, probably not, but they share a lot. We don't share all of our intelligence with them, but we share a lot. It's a close alliance.
Do they spy domestically in the United States?
Oh, they probably do, and we do as well. And friends and allies spy on each other. And I assume all of our allies spy on us.
And that's okay with you?
You know what? One of the things about being a conservative is that you're not naive and utopian. You don't think humans are all... Part of the reason socialism doesn't work is the mantra from each according to his abilities to each according to his needs doesn't work. As a
Citation needed? Why doesn't it? The idea that we build society based on people's abilities and needs is really pragmatic, actually. So you need a wheelchair, you need access to buildings, we'll build that. You're really good at this. You're really good at building rockets. You're really good at poetry. Like, come on. Like, he can't answer the question, so he has to go deflect onto his lack of knowledge on socialism.
conservative, I assume people act in their rational self-interest.
So it's
why the free market
conservative
works.
to pay people to spy on you?
It's conservative to recognize that human beings act in their own self-interest, and every one of our friends spies on us. And I'm not...
Do you like it? That's my question. I'm not asking whether they have motive to do it. Of course they do. I understand that. And
by the way,
I'm not mad at them. But you're an American lawmaker, so I just want to know, hold on, I want to know your attitude. Yeah. You said that your guiding principle, in fact, the only principle, the only criterion.
I said guiding, the overwhelming, I wouldn't say only.
Is it in America's interest? Is it in America's interest for Israel to spy on us, including on the president?
It is in America's interest to be closely allied with Israel because we get huge benefits for it. And you want to see the clearest...
But I just want to stop on the spying for a second. That it takes place, as you know, and including on the president of the United States and several precedents. And I just want to know if that's okay and why is it okay? Wouldn't an American lawmaker say to a client state, you're not allowed to spy on us? I'm sorry. I know why you want to. I'm not mad at you, but you're not allowed to.
Sure.
And I don't care for it. I don't want to be spied on by you. It's kind of weird not to say that, but you don't seem able to say that.
Sure, I would say don't spy on us. They're going to anyway. And by the way, the Brits are, the Canadians are. Like, I don't think...
Well, I'm not for that at all. Okay. I think it's disgusting. But we don't actually pay their... we're not their most meaningful sponsor. We're not...
I really wish Tucker would be honest here, because these questions are based on, well, maybe legitimate questions about Israel and the influence of AIPAC and foreign influence. But before we go any further, let's not get this mistaken. Tucker Carlson is a Nazi. He's a white supremacist. He hates Israel. He's a Russian shill. He's paid by Russia. Like, this isn't sincere. Like, this line of questioning isn't sincere. He just wants to get maybe under Ted Cruz's skin. Maybe he's had a bad day. Like, none of this is sincere. It's,
Not sort of paying for the operations of the British government.
I got to say, and this is, it's weird. We're talking about isolationists, the obsession with Israel. Why is Israel...
Oh, I don't think I'm obsessed with Israel.
Okay, but I think a lot of people are. And like the question, Israel spies on us. Well, so does every other country. Why are you mad at Israel?
I guess, no. I'm hardly the one who's... I've never taken money from the Israel lobby. Have you?
Taken money from the Israel...
From AIPAC.
So AIPAC raises a lot of money for me, but it's actually a misnomer because the people who raise money are individuals. Right. So it's not the PAC itself, but they're individual members who believe in the American-Israeli friendship and relationship.
Is AIPAC a foreign lobby?
No, it's an American lobby. It's the AIPAC stands for the America-Israeli Political Action Committee.
What does it lobby for?
So, to be honest, not a whole lot effectively. Listen, I came into Congress 13 years ago
Yes.
with the stated intention of being the leading defender of Israel in the United States Senate.
Great.
And I've worked every day to do that. AIPAC, a lot of times, AIPAC, I wish were much more effective. Like, there are folks online who are in the fever swamp of terrified of AIPAC, and AIPAC...
I'm not terrified of AIPAC at all. You're the one who seems a little uncomfortable when I'm asking.
No,
this.
not uncomfortable at all.
I'm just asking what AIPAC does. My understanding, having known a lot of people who work at AIPAC, is that it lobbies on behalf of the Israeli government.
Wrong.
Oh, okay.
It's objectively
when was
wrong.
the last time AIPAC took a position that deviated from Prime Minister Netanyahu?
All the time.
Name one.
Okay.
I really wish that this was how Republicans or Democrats were questioned on a daily basis by journalists. Again, none of it's sincere. Like, Tucker Carlson knows what he's doing. Because with AIPAC, there's a lot of conspiracy theories around it. It's a lot of the Nazi watching this video, a lot of Tucker Carlson's audience see the conspiracy, they go, oh my God, look, he's uncomfortable talking about it. Therefore, Israel controls the US government through AIPAC, which is just simply not true. This is a myth. This is conspiracy brain rot. And we have to be really careful with this stuff because AIPAC are bought by most politicians in America, Democrats and Republicans. But the idea that somehow they're like this puppet of America, it's just simply not true. And we've seen it with the fact that Donald Trump has kind of been annoyed by Netanyahu and hasn't really kind of followed what Joe Biden did. He was an ardent Zionist. Like, the idea that Israel can, it's the other way around. Like, yes, there's an allegiance, almost a blind allegiance to Israel. You can't criticize them. And that's the point in the video. He's saying, like, but there's no conspiracy here. Blatantly. Like, there's no conspiracy.
Let me go back and give a little history. If you want to do a deep dive on AIPAC,
I don't. I want to do a shallow dive that gets...
No, I'm not going to do a simple...
I want to get to the core question. AIPAC is lobbying for a foreign government. And I don't... It's not.
No.
It's lobbying for the United States.
It is lobbying for a strong U.S.-Israeli relationship.
Okay. So it's not has nothing to do with the foreign government.
It wants America and Israel to be closely allied.
Okay. But it's lobbying on behalf of the interests of another country.
So that's not true at all. And if
it's not true.
No.
How much contact do you think AIPAC leaders have for the government of Israel?
No idea. I imagine some. I think the government of Israel is often frustrated with AIPAC because AIPAC's not nearly strong enough.
Do you think there's any coordination between the government of Israel and AIPAC?
Do they talk? Sure. If you're lobbying for more U.S.-Mexico trade, would you talk to people in the U.S. and Mexico and the government? Sure. Like if...
So I'm not mad about that. There are a million countries that lobby Washington. I like a lot of those countries, including Israel.
But AIPAC are Americans. They're not Israelis.
Hold on. There are tons of Americans who lobby on behalf of foreign governments. I know them. I'm related to some of them. I know how it works. I'm from here. So my question is not, is it outrageous that foreign governments lobby the United States? They all do, okay, including Israel. My only question is, why don't we admit that is what's happening? You're denying it, but it's true.
Yeah,
and
why aren't you're saying is false.
Why aren't they registered as a foreign lobby?
Because they're not.
They're not a foreign lobby.
No, they're not. And this is that there's a fever swamp. Look,
it's not a fever swamp. These are very reasonable questions, and you've accused me of being obsessed with Israel, which I'm not.
I actually haven't. I've said
and of being
isolationist
feverish about it, which I'm not at all. I find it's a very tender spot when you ask it, and I don't know.
I mean, that is true. It is a reasonable question. But again, Tucker Carlson is a Nazi, so he doesn't care about sincere arguments. He's just trying to rile up his audience. His audience are like having a field day. I mean, look at the comments on these videos. And also as well, I'll just say one thing. Later in the interview, it's a 2-hour interview. I'm not going all over. I'm not going through the whole thing. When Ted Cruz asks Tucker Carlson about Russia, that's when he can't answer the question. So you have two people here. One, Tucker Carlson bought by Russia. And then you have Ted Cruz bought by Israel. So, I mean, in my opinion, both are bad. And I'm not a fan of either country, Israel or Russia.
Why?
It's hardly breaking news. The U.S. dollar has been gravely devalued by Washington money printing.
Obviously.
You print money out of thin air, and the currency becomes weaker.
So, Tucker, All right, let's go back. I was first elected to the Senate in 2012. I came in Obama's second term. And I actually saw AIPAC be badly wounded in a way they never came back from. And the second term is when Obama did the Iran nuclear deal. And the Iran nuclear deal, I think, was catastrophic. And AIPAC went all in lobbying against it.
Yeah.
And they failed. And I was the leading opponent of the Iran nuclear deal.
Oh, I know. They definitely failed, yes.
They failed. And what happened, the Obama White House told every Democrat, when I got here, there used to be real bipartisan support for Israel. That has largely disappeared. And it's the Obama nuclear deal that caused it, because the Obama White House told every Democrat, pick. You either stand with Israel or you're a Democrat and you stand with the Obama White House. And almost every single Democrat member of Congress said, I'm a Democrat first, to hell with Israel. And then I watched as AIPAC, every one of those Democrats got reelected and AIPAC did nothing about it. And it dramatically reduced AIPAC's influence.
I agree. I watched it happen.
And by the way, I told AIPAC, I said, look, the analogy, if the NRA was supporting a bunch of politicians and cared about the Second Amendment, and you had politicians that vote to confiscate people's guns, and the NRA turned around and raised money for the people who voted to confiscate guns, you know what? No one would ever care what they said again.
So you're making the case that AIPAC is not as powerful as people say it is, and I completely agree with you. I've watched that, and I'm not making the case that AIPAC is all powerful and they're running everything and putting fluoride in the water. I'm not making that case at all, because that's not true. I'm only trying to get to the question of what AIPAC is, and I don't think you're being straightforward about it. AIPAC is lobbying on behalf of the interests of a foreign country, and they're not registered. And you're saying, no, that's not true. You're saying that they don't coordinate with the Israeli government.
Of course, I coordinate. Do they talk with them? I don't know what they do. I can tell you.
But why don't you care? Isn't it meaningful if a foreign government...
Hey, I talk with Israel all the time. I talk with foreign countries all the time.
But the law is, and a lot of people have been prosecuted.
AIPAC have a broad set of conservative values, like military, industrial complex, police, like the idea that he just can't be honest about it, because that does encourage conspiracy, like the obfuscation. Like if Israel didn't exist, like some form of AIPAC would exist. They've just kind of latched themselves onto Israel because there's that relationship there historically. Like it's not inevitable, there's no conspiracy, but Ted's obfuscation seems like, oh, this is suspicious. And conspiracy-brained Nazis, often interlinked, well, like they're loving this. And just a bit of simple questions kind of go a long way, just to go, okay, well, why can't we just be honest about the, lobby of Israel? It's a very strange thing.
Under this law, that if you are lobbying on behalf of foreign government, you must register. That's it. It's really simple. And I don't know why, if I'm working for Malaysia or Qatar or Belgium, and I'm working on behalf of its government's interests through a group of Americans who are representing the friendship between those two nations, I have to register under the Foreign Agent Registration Act. And if I don't, I can go to jail. And people have gone to jail, including people I know. Okay. So I don't understand why we don't just be honest and say they're lobbying on behalf of a foreign government, they're coordinating with the government. You know that that's true.
That is not only not true, that is false.
They're not coordinating with the Israeli government?
Do you know how AIPAC raises money?
What?
For elected officials, like what they do, like what the actual mechanics is?
Yeah, I mean, they go to people who are sympathetic to Israel and raise money and then send it to candidates who agree with them.
So what they'll do is, in my last election, AIPAC endorsed me. And they'll host a fundraiser. And they'll host a fundraiser in Dallas or Houston or Atlanta or New York or LA. And they'll do a fundraiser and they'll get someone who will host it. And it's usually a business owner, lawyer, doctor, someone who hosts it. And you get typically at an AIPAC fundraiser, 30, 40, 50, maybe 100 people who live in that city.
Right.
Who care about a strong U.S.-Israel relationship. Yeah. And if they have, 50 people, each of them writes a $1,000 check. And you raise $50,000.
Yeah, I've been to an AIPAC fundraiser. Okay. I know what it looks like.
But that is not. And by the way, there's no representative of the Israeli government there. You have when you're in Dallas, you're meeting with.
This is such a false and silly conversation. I know all this. The question is are AIPAC's goals shaped by the goals of the Israeli government to any extent?
Okay,
That's
that's
a really
different
simple
from
question.
lobbying on behalf of.
It's a simple question. Are AIPAC's goals shaped by the goals of the Israeli government? And I'm just going to ask you that question straightforwardly. And if you say no, I think we both know that's not true.
Okay, are they shaped by?
Are they coordinating with the Israeli government?
Are they talking
to
with them?
represent
Yes.
the
Is
Israeli
Israel
government?
directing them? You want to talk about FARA? The law on lobbying on behalf of someone.
Yeah.
It is, I hire you and you lobby on behalf of me. I direct you. Does Israel direct AIPAC? No, they're not lobbying on behalf of them. Do they care about them? Yes, but...
Or do you think that, it's just interesting because what you're now describing in a very defensive way, I will say, is foreign influence over our politics.
No.
So it is interesting because obviously with the genocide in Gaza and the imminent war with Iran and the impact on geopolitical dynamics in that region, like what is the relationship between America and Israel? Because for years, Bill Clinton hated Netanyahu, George Bush, Barack Obama, and that question has kind of almost been a blind allegiance. But the conspiracy theory of like, oh yeah, like why can't he just answer the questions? Like AIPAC doesn't have that much influence. They obviously do have relations with Israel and there will be influence there. But why can't he just answer honestly? And the question, and the reason is like that blind allegiance, you can't criticize Israel. So Netanyahu just can't criticize them. But I think Trump has actually broken that a little bit. And it'll be interesting in the next coming years what the relationship with Trump and Netanyahu is, what happens with Iran, and just, yeah, very strange. But hit the like button and I'll see you next time.